Welcome to the Precalculus Chapter 4 test review. This will be covering the chapter on exponential functions and logarithm functions. So this is last year's exam, and the first question is asking us to graph a function. This is an exponential function. So before I even start plotting points, 6 ordered pairs, I need to get 6 ordered pairs on this graph. So I have to plug in the right values of x to make that happen. And as a reminder, I know what the horizontal asymptote is for this function. Remember, if you just have 2 raised to some function of x, like x minus 4, then the x-axis would be the horizontal asymptote. Because I have a plus 1 here that raises the graph up 1 unit, I know that I'm going to have the horizontal line y equal 1 as a horizontal asymptote instead of the x-axis. If you can't see, that's the origin right there. This is the x-axis. All right, well, it wasn't necessary that I draw this dotted line, but I do not want you to draw any points underneath or even touching this asymptote, okay? So, and we'll see that as we draw the points, they all stay above it, above that horizontal asymptote. All right, let's plot some xy pairs. It says to plot 6. Well, let's see, where do I want to start? I think a good place to start would be the number that gives me a 2 to the 0. Okay, so I'm going to make x equal 4 for starters. And then I'll do a few points above and a few points below. So a few numbers for x smaller than 4 and a few bigger than 4. Well, if I plug in a 4, I get 2 to the 0 plus 1. That would be 1 plus 1, which is 2. So maybe I'll write 2 to the 0 plus 1 equals 2. Anything to the 0, remember, is a 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So this ordered pair I'm going to plot will be 4 comma negative 2. Maybe I'll plot that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, let's go down to 5 and 6. So this would be 2. If x is a 5, I'm going to get 2 to the 1 plus 1. And 6 would be 2 squared plus 1. Okay, so 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So the ordered pair is 5 comma 3. So 5 comma 3 would be right there. 6 is going to be, let's see, 2 squared plus 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So the ordered pair would be 6 comma 5. 6 comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I guess actually I see if we could do 7. See if that will stay on the chart. 7, if x is a 7, we'll get 7 minus 4, which is 3. 2 to the 3, which is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So 2 to the 3rd plus 1 equals 9. So 7 comma 9. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so you can obviously see that if we go up to 8, it's going to take us off of the graph. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's get 2 more points. So we got to go backwards here. So let's go to 3, which would be 2 to the 3 minus 4 is a negative 1 plus 1. Okay, so maybe I should have reviewed this. Remember that anytime you have 2 to the negative n, we'll say, that is equal to 1 over 2 to the positive n. Basically, you take the reciprocal of the 2, which is a half, and you raise it to the n power. So technically, I could have said, say 2 to the negative n is the reciprocal of 2 raised to the positive n. And you can see that this is 1 to the n over 2 to the n. Well, 1 to the n is just 1. So 1 over 2 to the n. All right, so I get 2 to the negative 1, which is 1 over 2, 1/2, plus 1. So I could just write that like 1 and 1/2. Make it nice and easy. All right, so 3 comma 1.5. If we go 1, 2, 3, we go up in between, right in between 1 and 2 would be this right here. Okay, and maybe I'm going to do, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need one more point. I think instead of 2, 2 would be comma, you can plug it in yourself. 2, well, maybe I'll write it in. And I'm going to do an additional point as well. But if x is 2, I'm going to get 2 to the negative 2 plus 1. Oops, sorry about that. That's equal to 2 to the negative 2 is 1 over 2 squared. 2 to the negative 2 is 1 over 2 quantity squared, which is the same as 1 over 2 squared, which is 1 over 4. So that would be 1 and 1/4. So at 2, I'm going to go up to a height of 1/4, a 1 1/4, which is between 1 and 2, I'm just going to go up 1/4. And I'm going to do one more. I'm running out of room here. I'm going to go straight to 0. Skipping 1. You should do that just for practice. Plug in 1. If I plug in a 0, I get 2 to the negative 4 plus 1. And what is 2 to the negative 4? It's 1 over 2 to the 4. And 2 to the 4th is 16. So it would be 1 and 1/16. So 0 comma 1 and 1/16. And you can see 1/16 is just barely above 1. And as we go to the left, if we plug in negative numbers here, it's just going to get closer and closer and closer to that horizontal asymptote. As x goes towards negative infinity, it's just going to get closer and closer. Never really touches it, ever. But it gets closer and closer and closer. So here's what the graph looks like. Now be careful to stay above that asymptote. So you could put an arrow on both ends. And that's what the graph looks like.